Hey everyone, today we're going to do something I haven't done in a little bit, and that's talk about Shadowverse Evolve. So, the new set 3, what is it called? Flames of Levitain, that's what it's called in Japan, I believe. I don't know what it's called out here, is coming out in just about 2 weeks-ish. It comes out February 2nd. And I think there hasn't been a lot of discussion and talk about it because a lot of players, a lot of people are still preparing for the LCQ, like me, and then of course if they already had their Worlds invite, the World's Championships or whatever in Japan is on that weekend when the set comes out. So, a lot of people have not really been super discussing this set, and yeah, but it's actually a really fun, cool set with some outlier cards. Yeah, with some outliers. There's going to be some very, very, very impactful cards and impactful new things that decks are going to be able to do, but overall, it's pretty good. So, today, we're not going to be talking about every single card because there are a lot of pack filler cards, I'm going to be honest. A lot of cards are terrible. But we're going to sort of talk about like archetypes, new archetypes that come out, other cards that are really impactful for old decks as well. And then we're also going to look at some deck lists, and the deck lists that I picked out are from the original Japan Championships from a year ago because they played in the set 3 meta, and I think it'd be interesting to take a look at those decks because a lot of them are new decks, at least that we don't have yet. So, yeah, I think another thing is I don't believe, obviously today, they are doing, today while I'm recording, they're doing a stream to talk about Bushiroad, I mean, by they, to talk about the new tournament structure and stuff. I imagine. I think it's going to be teams, is what I've heard. You know, I'm not a Bushiroad expert. That's my boys. That's my friends. So I don't believe this set will really have any big tournaments. So if you have a locals that is populated and people are going to, and it's just like a fun, not super sweaty locals, I think there's a lot of fun stuff you can do in this set. If there are tournaments, You better get those egg crackers. I don't know. Are those the real things? Anyway, here we go. So first is Forest. We're gonna actually no. First, I'm gonna talk about the neutral cards. So, also the way I have this set up is this is the doc from the Shadowverse Evolve Discord. So thanks for the translations. That's always very helpful. They've been doing this for a really long time. They've been doing this since set 1 Japan came out. So, thank you to them. So the way I'm gonna do this, so as you see, the card I'm talking about, I'm going to have highlighted the name. So, like, Slade Blossoming Wolf is highlighted right now, yeah. And then I'm going to click Elf Twins Assault. So that means that's the card I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to make sure I click the name so you guys know what card I'm talking about. That's kind of the only way I can do this right now because, obviously, Shadow Card is not too good of a website. And also, there's no official card reveal yet because the set is still 2 weeks out. One thing, this is side tangent, I do wish they would release the card list like a week before because we all know what the cards are going to be, but it'd be nice to have like official translations and stuff. And yeah, so all right, let's talk about neutral first because neutral is definitely the most impactful part of this set. So first card is Alice Wonderland Explorer. And if you're a OG digital player like I am, I wouldn't consider myself OG, but at this point I've been playing for like 5 years. Alice is the first mistake, right? She's the first, some people might say Hector, but she's the first mistake, right? She was the first like, oh, this is not good. So Goblin Tove, Goblin Leader, Alice, the classic. So Alice, she does not do the same thing at all in digital, she does not do the same thing in physical as she does in digital, but she does something extremely powerful. So she's a 3-mana 3/3, evolve for 1, Fanfare put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. I believe they are translated to Fable. I may use those terms interchangeably, Fairy Tale and Fable, they're the same thing. If I mess up, I apologize. Activate, remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card, choose a Fairy Tale follower from your field or your EX area, and then put a Fairy Tale counter on it. So she can move, she's a Fairy Tale manager, she's the counter manager. She can move counters to other people and wherever they need to be at the moment, So that's pretty good, right? I mean, we haven't seen what the fairy tale counters are going to do, right? So it's like, how do we, tell if that's good? But yeah, baseline, pretty nice. So the evolve form is where things get a little crazy. So on evolve, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Choose or put up to 2 fairy tale cards from among them into your EX area. Put the rest on the bottom in any order. So she searches you 2 cards. Little 3 mana, 3/3 Evo for 1. Search you 2 cards. That seems a little good, right? And she still has the same activate effect. Another thing to note is the activate effect is not once per turn. I just realized I should click the evolve form when I'm talking about the evolve form. The activate effect is not once per turn, so if you have a Alice loaded up with fairy tales, you can, fairy tale counters, you can move them wherever. Really good. So like, with that in mind, it's like, wow, this is an extremely powerful, we could say engine, right? An engine for this extremely powerful fairy tale, sub-archetype, but what are the good fairy tale cards? Why do we need the fairy tale counter? So let's talk about some of them in the neutral class. So, first one is Rapunzel. I think Rapunzel is a little bit slept on. So first of all, I love my boy in Prison Dragon. I love my girl Major Arden. Low cost, overstated wards that have some downside, I think are actually pretty good in this game. And Rapunzel is a 3 mana 4/5 ward, and then she can't attack unless she has a fairy tale counter on her. So you can imagine, right? You go 1, 2, 3, Rapunzel. She's a 4/5. That's really hard to remove. Right now in the game, if you're going first at least, Dragonkin, Serpent's Wrath. Some other people have. I mean, if you're playing Onslaught, which is probably should not be doing, but it's going to be really hard to do 5 damage, right? Next turn you go Alice Evo, and hey, I got a fairy tale counter. Let me shift it over to Rapunzel and swing for 4, and have a 4/5 ward now all of a sudden that attacked, pretty good. And she's also just a she's just also a fairy tale card that can be searched from Alice. Pretty good. Not like the king, but pretty good. Actress Faria, a very classic Rage Bahamut character, but also classic Shadowverse card. 1 mana 2/2, so Goblin. I love my goblins. Act this card. Choose one of your fairy tale followers. Put a fairy tale counter on it. So this is the beginning of sort of a what's the MTG word? I'm not MTG. I'm not an MTG scholar, but where it's like a series of cards that are very similar, but they do slightly different things, because they start doing these goblins that act and then do something. So the Idolmaster set got one. Some other sets have gotten one where it's a goblin, and it's just a goblin, which is amazing. Goblins are really good in this game. And then you act and you do something. We kind of had that originally with the Uma Musume, the starter deck cards, where it was the 2 mana 3/2 Rico, where you tap and then she gives something attack. The problem with that was it was 2 mana 3/2, not a 1 mana 2/2. So Actress Fairy, really good, probably a staple for every fairy tale deck, because as you imagine, hey, like we were just talking about Rapunzel, the first little fairy tale combo we were talking about, right, is Rapunzel on 3, and the next turn you go, hey, Faria, give it a fairy tale, or Alice, give it a fairy tale, or hey, you have well, no, that wouldn't work, because she still wouldn't be able to attack that turn. So, but yeah, just easy access to fairy tale counters from Faria. So now is our boy Humpty Dumpty, the egg. So Humpty Dumpty, 3 mana 3/3, Evo for 0. On evolve, deal 5 damage to all followers, that includes your board. Deal 3 damage to all enemy leaders, and discard all cards in your hand. This is the reason you play Fairy Tale, pretty much. This is really, really strong. It was really strong. Board wipe for 3. Discarding your hand is, a downside, but you can play around that, because as you saw with Alice, she put it into your EX area, not your hand, right? So they're not going to go away. And then 5 AoE and 3 to enemy leader. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And especially, we're not going to talk about like next set, you know, but Haven gets gets a card that it's a goblin that lets your board not take damage for a turn. Which makes this deck really silly, but we'll talk about the separate like fairy tale decks and stuff in a second. But Humpty Dumpty is definitely one of the main cards, I would say, for fairy tale. One of the main payoffs for like doing this, because your payoff is like, hey, I got a really good engine in Alice, one of the best card drawers in the game, which is something that the Shadowverse Evolve has been lacking, is a good card draw. And then just some of these other extra pieces like the Rapunzel and the Faria. And then now here's like, okay, here's what we're really doing, you know. So last neutral fairy tale card is Egg-splosion. 3 mana spell, deal X damage to all enemy followers and all enemy leaders, sorry, all followers. It is still all followers. X is the total number of explosions and Humpty Dumpty in your graveyard +1, and it does not count this card. So, most of the other fairy tale decks outside of the best one, which we'll talk about, don't really play this card because it is a little too greedy. Like, Humpty Dumpty is good on his own, but it is a little too greedy to be playing this and Humpty Dumpty, as we've seen from JP sets and stuff, or sorry, JP deck lists and stuff. But it's still pretty good, right? It's an extra like reach option. Say you already Humpty Dumpty'd one, like say you Humpty Dumpty, you discard like a Humpty Dumpty and this Explosion or something, then you're going to be doing 4 AoE, you know, like that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, so those are the neutral fairy tale cards. I don't think I missed one yet because it's just Alice, Rapunzel, Faria, Humpty Dumpty, and Explosion. So it's like, okay, this is a pretty nice neutral package, right? Pretty strong. I would say that Alice is just like baseline extremely strong. The other cards are like, they're pretty good, you know, if you can find a deck for them, which people did, and we did. So now we're going to go all the way back to Forest. And again, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm just going to talk about the really impactful cards, the impactful decks, and the impactful sort of thing. So I'm not going to go through every card. But yeah, so first thing. So now with the fairy tale cards in mind, let's talk about some of the fairy tale cards in the rest of the set. So Beauty and the Beast is the Forest fairy tale. Can I? Yes, let's do that so you can read the whole text. So Beauty and the Beast is the fairy tale payoff for Forest. It is a 6 mana 5/7 rush, and then the A word. You know who else has the A word that's really good, you know. Or is really strong. Yeah. Anyway, fanfare, put a fairy tale counter on this card. So, sorry about that. So, automatically when Beauty and Beast comes into play, they get a fairy tale counter. Sick. If this entered the field from anywhere other than your hand, it gains Storm. Storm, Aura, we've seen those two keywords somewhere else. Activate. Remove any number of fairy tale counters from this card. This gets +X+X. X is the number of fairy tale counters removed this way. So, that's a lot of stuff, right? That's like big storm guy with the A word. You know, we know what the A word is. You know, we know Forte be getting going crazy, you know. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this card's very good. I don't think this is very good. I think this is a sick locals card. It's just too high rolly, which, you know, we've seen this meta, not to get too into, you know, this meta, I mean, that we're currently in, you know, hey, only see 15 cards at the top of our deck. Let's roll, baby, you know. But the fact that they need to be in your EX area or be respawned, but there's no, realistic card that respawns a 6-drop from your graveyard, or I should say reanimate or whatever the term in paper is. It gains Storm, so it only gains Storm if it's in your EX area, And so far, we only have one way Alice that we've seen so far. There are some other ones which we'll look through in the Forest set here. To get a card from the deck into the EX area, that's a Fairy Tale card. So, because like Rush Aura is terrible. Like if it's a 6-mana, okay, like even if it's so it's basically going to be a 6-mana 6/8 because it auto gets a Fairy Tale counter. 6-mana 6/8 Rush Aura is not good enough. Like 6-mana 6/8 Rush is not good, even with Aura, you know. It's like worse Aurelia, you know, pumped Aurelia, because it doesn't have Ward. If it had like Ward, it'd be sick. This is a deck that saw a lot of success early on, very early on in the set, and then it started to come down. I think people realize like how kind of high rolly it is, and yeah, so Beauty and the Beast not too good in my opinion. Let's look at some of the other Fairy Tale cards though. So. Magical Fairy Lilac. She is a 3-mana 1/4 Fairy Tale, so not amazing stat line at all. Actually, really terrible stat line for this game. Activate, act this card, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. So the fact that she has to act, she doesn't just get it for free, is a little weak. And then activate 1 play point and remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card. Choose an enemy follower, destroy it. So I don't know. I think this card's terrible. It's 4 mana 1/4, kill something. 4 mana 1/4, tap something, kill something. I don't know. I think that's like really bad. I think that's like really, really, really bad. The fact that also like it'd be cool if she could like tap it, and, like she could be like a extra Actress Faria where she gives fairy tales to other cards, but she doesn't. Really terrible card. I don't think this card is good at all. Unless you're playing like extreme control forest, but at that point, like, why? Like, because the payoff is Beauty. The payoff is Big Storm guy. You know, the payoff is Big Storm Aura guy, not like Big Ward kill things guy. You know. So yeah, I think this card's terrible. Just costs too much. There should be like 2 mana. I think at 2 mana this would be probably playable. Alright, so what are the other? For some reason I thought Abby the Axe Girl was a Fairy Tale, but no. Okay, yeah, Flower Princess. So Flower Princess, 2 mana 2/3, baseline stat line. Fighter stat line is pretty good in this game. Fanfare, put a fairy in your EX area, so already I like to see these type of cards where they are just good baseline outside of their deck, right? So, hey, I'm just 2 mana 2/3, give me a fairy. That's pretty good, you know. Let's see what else she does. Combo 3, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. Okay, that's interesting. Activate, act this card and remove a Fairy Tale counter from it. Choose an enemy follower, deal 3 damage. Like, why is this card so efficient and Lilac is not? I don't understand. This card is really good. I think this card's also really good outside of Fairy Tale, you know, because it's own, like, you don't need to play other Fairy Tale cards for it to be good. It's not dependent on the rest of your hand. It's just, hey, combo 3, get a fairy in EX area, get a Fairy Tale counter, deal 3 damage. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Pretty good. So, next Fairy Tale card is Tweedledee. 2 mana 2/2 with nothing, and then it evolves for 1. So, like, it's got to be a pretty good evolve effect. Well, it is. It's a fairly good evolve effect. So, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal a card with cost 1 from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. I think this card is good for what it is. It's a really strong forest card because you want to be playing a ton of 1-drops anyway. I just, like, it's good. It's good. It's a 2 mana 2/2, evolves for 1, you know, classic stat line we see. But it only checks the top 4. And it's like, I don't know. It's good. You probably need to be playing more 1-drops than you normally would. So, but it's a good baseline card. One of the better cards we've seen so far because it draws you cards. Drawing cards is good. It doesn't even draw it. It kind of tutors. It kind of, you know, top check 4. You know. Then last fairy tale card fairy tale card that Forest has is Woodland Band. Fanfare, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put a fairy tale follower from among them into your EX area, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then act this card and put it in the graveyard, choose one of your fairy tale followers, put a fairy tale counter on it. So this is your second out of 2 ways to get Beauty and the Beast into your EX area. I just don't think that's enough. I think the deck is going to be sick if you high roll. Even then, though, it's 6 mana. You know, like that's pretty expensive, and you have to like really give it a lot of fairy tales for it to be good. Like you have to give it at least 1 extra fairy tale for it to be better than 14. Gosh darn. I don't know. I don't see Beauty and the Beast. I think it's you're gonna lose to it because it's a high roll deck, right? You know, you get in the EX area. But yeah, I don't know. I think my opinion is it doesn't seem that good, and also I think that's sort of the results like opinion as well. Like it did not see much play outside of the first couple weeks. So that's pretty much Forest. There's a lot of other cards in here that are just pretty much not worth talking about or mentioning. I do want to just touch on Wood of Brambles, because that's one of the classic Shadowverse cards. It's so bad in this version, I don't really know why. Typically, like, cards either completely change or they get a little stronger. This is, like, so bad. It's, the original was really strong, but this one is, at the start of your main phase, you draw this card. As long as this is in the field, all your followers have strike. If this is attacking a follower, deal 2 damage to that follower. Fanfare, put a fairy into the field. Combo 3 gains rush. So, not very good. But yeah, so next class is, of course, Sword. And we're not really going to touch on the fairy tale stuff because it's pretty weak. Cinderella is the payoff, and she's just honestly just not that good, you know. Just 7 mana, 5/5 Storm, and then if you're lucky, you get a or I guess not if you're lucky. I mean, you're gonna get something for free, but it's not worth you know, all the stuff, because Sword gets some crazy aggro stuff in this set. So we're gonna talk about the hero cards, the heroic cards. First one is Valiant Fencer, 3 mana, 2/2. Evolve for 1. You can only use this ability if you have 2 or fewer cards in your hand. And then Fanfare, search your deck for a heroic card with a different name than this card and add it to your hand. And then on Evolve, sorry, I didn't click the name. I should be clicking the name. I clicked the traits. On Evolve, it chooses one of your heroic followers with Evolve, and you evolve it for free. So that's a pretty unique ability in paper. There's cards that do that in digital, of course. Is this good? Yes, it's very good. It's turns out playing a bunch of 1-drops, emptying your hand, and then playing this and getting trillions of stats on the board basically for free is pretty good. I wouldn't even say this is like the best heroic card, though. We'll see some really insane ones in a second. But yeah, as you can see, it's a little understated for 3. It does suck that it's not really at all a good 3-drop at all. Outside of, I guess, being like worst Gemstaff commander for your deck, I guess. I mean, Gemstaff's already really rough on 3 anyway. So anyway, he also evolves into a 5/5, by the way. So very low and then high. You know, like if you hit it, you're gonna hit. If you don't, you're not. And that's this deck in a nutshell, basically. So next card is a Marrow Spear Knight, 2 mana, 2/2, evolve for 3. Strike if there's another heroic follower in your field. This gets +1/+1. On Evolve, if there's another heroic field, so it has the same strike effect. I don't know why. Typically, it's the other way, where they have the Evolve effect and then the strike effect that like exists forever. But anyway, on Evolve, choose a heroic card in your graveyard. You may play it for 0 play points. So again, kind of similar to the Legendary, where he's a pretty bad on-curve card. Like, this card is terrible on curve. 2-mana 2/2 is not what you want to be seeing in this game. But on when you evolve for 5, you get a crap ton of stuff, you know. So pretty cool. Next one is Mock Knight. Now, this is where things get problematic for me. So Mock Knight, 3-mana 3/3, evolve for 1. Fanfare. If this card entered the field from anywhere other than your hand, it gains Storm. Okay, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Anywhere other than your hand. So, obviously, we've seen already a Marrow can respawn him, basically. Why do I keep saying respawn? It's reanimate. On Evolve, that's pretty sick. And, yeah, so you could do, like, combos. Like, just right now, we're looking at combos, right? You can do Valiant Fencer, get a Marrow, and then Evo Valiant Fencer, and then on his evolve a Marrow, and then get Mock Knight, and then he gains Storm, right? Let me just make sure you can do that. Hold on, so... And then... Yeah, okay, because typically... Because in digital, it says, like, evolve effects don't go off, you know, but it does not say that in this game, so that's pretty sure you can do that. You know, that's kind of a niche, you know, thing. That's not, like, why the deck is strong, where it's like, oh, I comboed, you know, it's strong for other reasons as well. But Mock Knight, so that's the base version of Mock Knight. On Evolve, he deals 2 damage to an enemy follower, and then if there are 2 or more heroic cards in your graveyard, deal 4. Well, I was going to say, we've seen how insane Dragon Warrior is, but there are some Dragon Warrior haters, which is insane to me. But anyway, worse Dragon Warrior, but if, you know, on the low roll, but if you high roll, it's way better Dragon Warrior. Alright, so we already see a pattern, right? It's, if we draw the cards in the right order, this deck is unstoppable, which is kind of what we see. So, last 2, heroic cards. Goblin, a new Goblin, hallelujah, for sword. 1-mana 2/2, if there are 2 or more heroic cards in your graveyard, this gets +0/+1 and gains wards. So this is just, one of those cards that's just like a role filler, right? He's a role player. He's a goblin. You love goblins, especially in an aggressive deck. And then he's just gonna fill the graveyard because there are other effects that need 2 heroic cards in the graveyard, right? Sorry. And then later on, if you top deck him, he's a 1-mana 2/3 ward. That's pretty insane. So last card is where things, in my opinion, get a little silly. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like this deck. I think this is not where we should be going in the game, you know. It's very just, if you draw the right cards in the right order, you just auto win, you know. But anyway, well, you know, positive vibes only. So heroic entry, 3-mana spell. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a royal follower from among them. Sorry, sword follower from among them, which costs 3 or less into your field. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If it's a heroic follower, it gets +1/+1. So, let's say you top check 4, and little Mock Knight comes out. And this is turn 3 going first, right? Turn 3 going first. Oh, top check 3. Whoops. Got a 4/4 Storm. That also evolves for 1, and is probably going to deal 4 damage. Whoops. Whoops. I don't know, but I think this card is really corny. I think this card is really stupid. But yeah, I don't know. Pretty strong archetype, as you can see. Other cards I do want to talk about in Sword, because Sword got another pretty nice card, is Old Man and Old Woman. They are also a Fairy Tale card, but as we kind of discussed briefly, the Fairy Tale stuff for Sword is not too good. I think I will, this is like side note, we're already 30 minutes in, I should have said this at the beginning, but I think I will do a video about like some of the top, some of the decks I think might be pretty good in the set 3 only tournaments they're doing, which I'm actually really excited for. I think that's a really cool idea, cool way to get people into the game. You only need, set 3 cards. You don't have to have anything else this set, and you can play. You get a unique playmat. You get some promos. Really sick. But I think like Hero Sword with like some fairy tale stuff is going to be really good, and then obviously Haven, which we'll talk about later on. But anyway, Old Man, Old Woman, 1 mana, 1/2, bang. That's the whole card. This card, in my opinion, is really insane. This is really strong 1-drop. Sword needed more 1-drops, and this one is really, really good. So that's pretty much Sword. Again, we're not going to talk about every card. There's some fun stuff in here. I do think Cinderella is like a fun card. I just think it's really weak. So, all right, next class. I'm doing this briefly because Rune is terrible, but it's fun if you like that kind of, if you like that kind of stuff. So, we'll just talk about Oz. So Oz, she is an Earthright card, but she also wants you to have spells in your deck. And then Felice is the same thing. She's an Earthright card, but she wants you to have spells in your deck. So I can imagine some sort of deck where it's like, because Oz is pretty self-sufficient, because she just on play gets a sediment and stacks it for 1, so it's 2, and then you draw a card. So you don't like need too much other like Earthright stuff, So you could do like a Oz with lots of spells deck, and then Felice is a really insane card if you hit it, where it's 4 mana, 4/5 storm, and then deal 4 damage to all enemy followers. Pretty sick. Not too many cards honestly in here. Mr. Hainlin, sick high roll card. If 5 mana, 4/4, and then you mill 4 cards, and then every spell you mill, you get a play point back. And then he can act and discard a spell and deal 4 damage to something. Pretty sick high roll card. Last card I think that's worth talking about is honestly Gingerbread House. We saw people playing in Japan Gingerbread House as just a way to heal, because some future really powerful rune decks do not have really good ways to heal. And that's pretty much it. Witch's Cauldron for the Earthright slot machine gamers, to make it more consistent, I guess. I mean, I guess this is just a better Teachings of Creation, but you might play both. So yeah, that's Rune. Rune does not get really anything. My chess overlords, y'all got it. Dragon, almost the exact same thing outside of 1, maybe 2 like extremely powerful cards. So Draconeer, 3 mana, 3/3. This is your Dragon Warrior. Low roll, high roll. Like Dragon Warrior is gonna be in the middle of this card. Draconeer is gonna be like, whoa, if you hit it, that's sick. If you low roll, it's a little worse than Dragon Warrior. You guys get what I'm saying. But I think overall it's just really strong. So it's 3 mana, 3/3, evolve for 1. Fanfare, put a Draconic Weapon on the field, and Draconic Weapon is it's a token. Let me just exactly read. Yeah, so it's a token. It's activate this card and put it in your graveyard. Choose one of your dragon followers. It gets +0/+1 and the armed trait. So Draconeer on evolve. He deals 2 damage to an enemy follower, but if there's another armed follower in your field, it deals 4 damage. So he's either a 3 mana 3. Okay, sorry. So he's either a 3 mana 3/4, evolve for 1 to a 4/5, deal 2 damage, or he's like a Dragon Warrior that deals 4 damage and your other guy gets +1 attack or health. So probably just overall just better. Than Dragon Warrior, but yeah. Last card is Dragon Summoner. I love this art from I love this card, this art from Digital and Rage Bahamut, of course. 2 mana 1/3, evolve for 1, does nothing else. But on evolve, it looks at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a dragon follower from among them and add it to your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's basically a 3 mana 2/4, top check 3, add a dragon follower. I think this is really cool. But yeah, other than that, pretty bad set for dragon. Anything else I'm missing? Elder Tortoise is probably the greatest card of all time. In draft, hey, gain an Evo point, we pay Olivia for that shit, Anyway, now On to kind of sick class. Nightmare, Abyss, whatever. Abyss got some cool stuff that's kind of like good. We'll just talk about like the stuff that's like worth talking about that's cool. So Dark Alice, Fairy Tale card, 6 mana, 6/6. Rush, strike each opponent discards a card from their hand. And then last words, banish the top 10 cards of your deck. So not mill. Oh my god, if this was mill, this would be sick. Put this card into the field, discard a card from your hand. So, when this card came out, the meme was like, okay, if we get Cerberus, and then we Evo, and then we have the 2 pump cards, and then we play this, and then they try to kill it. Kill it, not banish it, because if it banishes, it's done. We're done. It's over. Kill it, and then it never dies. And then next turn, we get Azazel with an Evo point, and then it's 10, and then we pump Alice 2 times, and we swing in for 10, and we win the game. Overall, this is just a 6/6 rush discard. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. I don't think the last words is cool. It's like, why do you have to discard a card from your hand? I don't understand that. I think banishing the top 10 cards is already big enough. I don't think you need to discard. That's my opinion. So overall, I like the card. Sorry. I like the card. I just don't think it's good. Other card I want to talk about, Odile. This is the type of card that's like not very strong, but I could see strong. Like, it's always one of those cards where when new stuff comes out, you kind of check back and you're like, hey, is this good enough yet? And it's like, no. And you're like, hey, is this good enough? No, it's still not good. And it's like, hey, we're in set 8 now. Can we use this card? No. But or more it's like there's better things to do. But 5 mana, 6/4. Strike, deal 2 damage to all enemy leaders and all enemy followers. Fanfare, deal 2 damage to all enemy leaders and all enemy followers. Necrocharge, 20, this gains Storm. So when you have 20 in the grave, this is 5 mana, 6/4 Storm, or basically 10 damage. Necrocharge 20 is like unbelievably hard to get, so it's just not very good. It's just not very good. It's just not a very good card. 6/4 is also a terrible stat line. Literally dies to breath, Alright. Now we talk about, like, one of the just, whoa, why is this card so insane cards in the game so far. Demonium Punk Devil. Why? This card's so silly. This card's so insane. 2 mana, 2/3. Ward. I'm going to be honest. I forgot he had Ward. Last words. Add 2 to your leader's health. So, for free, it's just a 2 mana, 2/3 Ward. When he dies, restore 2. Activate, subtract 2 from your house, so take 2. This gains Bane. Like, what? Like, this card's insane. This card is so silly. Like, this card is so overtuned for a 2-drop. Unfortunately, he's in, like, one of the worst classes in the game. And he doesn't work towards, like, the only game plan they have right now, which is aggro, or only viable game plan, which is aggro. He's a sick control card. But yeah, pretty good card. That's pretty much it, for Nightmare, or for Abyss. This, like, ghost stuff is so bad. It's, like, really bad. Really terrible. Alright. Now we get to what everyone's been waiting for. Egg-Haven! Oh my god, it's Egg-Haven! Oh my god, I'm so sick. Okay, I'm just gonna start this off. I think people, okay, how do I word this? People are, like, kind of saying the deck is really hard. I think that's a little bit overstated. Depending on the version you play. 'Cause I think there's 2 versions. I think there's one that's better than the other. In my opinion. As we, kind of results, kind of show, But, the one version is a little cute and is probably hard to play. Just because you need It's much more like decision making and stuff. But the other version, pretty just play out the cards and I have 0 cards in hand anyway, so I'm gonna discard. Anyway, so I don't think I think if you have a basic to like above average understanding of the game, which we're not here to throw shade, but if you have a baseline or above average understanding of the game, I think you're gonna pick up this deck fine. I don't think it's like super hard, to be honest. I think you can make the deck harder. But yeah, anyway, let's get into it. Let's no more preamble. First, Fairy Tale card, Snow White. I love this card. I think this card is super insane and super underrated. 2 mana, 2/2 ward. Fanfare, if this entered the field from your hand, put a Fairy Tale counter on it. Fanfare, if this entered the field from anywhere other than your hand, this gets +1/+1. And then last words, if this has a Fairy Tale counter on it, put it into your X area. So it's a very, again, I like these self-sufficient Fairy Tale cards where it's play it, 2 mana, 2/2 ward with Fairy Tale. When it dies, go to your X area, which is better than your hand, right? Because we're playing Humpty Dumpty and we're throwing our hand away. And then when it comes back out, it's a 3/3 ward, 2 mana, 3/3 ward. I really like that this is just like gives you so many options in the game when, if you get screwed by draws or whatever, you're always most likely going to have ways to get this card back onto the field. You're always going to have a play. I really like this consistency, and I like the idea of filling your deck with a lot of wards in this upcoming format, because I think Aggro Sword is going to be really, really strong. So, really, really like this card. This is a very strong card, in my opinion. So, next card. Another really strong card that I think people are like, I don't want to say underrated because people are playing this card, because it's really good. But I don't think a lot of the a lot of the original set 3 lists were not playing Snow White. So Odette, White Swan, 5 mana 4/6. Fanfare, all your other followers get +2 health, and you heal 2. Last words, all your followers get +2 health, and you heal 2. Notice she's 6 health. How much does Humpty Dumpty do on AoE? I got 5 on it, so she does not die. Pretty sick. Also 5 mana, Fairy Tale card, that's going to be important. Really strong. She's also the ultra rare, I think, for Haven. Next card. Alice's Adventure. Like, not to get too into it, but like, they obviously designed Alice to be a Haven card. It's really funny. Like, they really overtuned Haven for Fairy Tale. Alice's Adventure, 2 mana amulet. Search your deck for a Fairy Tale card and put it in your hand. Any Fairy Tale card in your deck. Just, open your deck up, search it. So, ideally, what are we going to be getting? Probably on curve, we're most likely going to be getting Alice. Off the curve, we're probably going to get whatever we need. Odette is one of the sickest 5-drops we have in the game right now. This is really, really a sick 5-drop. Hey, grab that. There are some other cards that we're going to be grabbing in a second that I'll show you, but pretty good card. And then activate 1 play point. Act this card and put it in your graveyard. Choose one of your, that's supposed to be one, of your Fairy Tale followers. It gains Rush and Direct Attack. So this is also sick because it's like, so, hey, we were talking about, right, Princess, Snow White. I think these type of cards, like with Snow White, it's like, hey, whoa, I just have, this is on my field because I searched something. Snow White's in my EX area because I played it earlier and it died. I just need to kill. So I just want to kill a standing 3-drop, or 3 health thing, Direct Attack is really strong. Also getting like Rush as well, so you just attack immediately. Really, 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 really strong card. I don't want to overhype the activate effect part though, because that's obviously, not the headliner. The headliner is it's a 2 mana tutor for any of your Fairy Tale cards. Then here we go, baby. Here we go. March Hares. Tea time. This is one of the reasons why Haven is really strong with the Fairy Tale engine. 4 mana amulet. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose a Fairy Tale follower from among them. put it into the field. So if you get a 5-drop, what 5-drop were we just talking about? Odette. It's ramp, basically, or it gets it out early, right? Because it's 4 mana. Put the rest of the bottom of your order. Also, the fact that it checks 5, I really like, because we've seen it check 4, we've seen it check 2, we've seen it check 3. 5 is really nice. That does allow you to, I wouldn't, like, recommend, doing this sort of, what's the word, like, deck management, but it does kind of allow you to play less Fairy Tales than you necessarily would if it was like check 3 or check 4 or check 2, obviously. And then activate 2 play points. Act this card and put it in your graveyard. Choose a Fairy Tale follower with cost 3 or less in the graveyard and put it in a field. So you just get Alice back. You just get Alice back, and then for 2 mana, and then you evo for 1, and you get 2 more cards in your EX area. This card is so stupid. This card is so bonkers. This card is so insane. Really, really, really strong card. Really, on top of Alice, is the resource engine of the deck. Also notice, Alice's Adventure says card, so you can search for this. So this is also probably probably this next card that most of the time you're going to be trying to get from Alice's Adventure. Really strong card. Really, really strong card. Yeah. Last 2 cards here, I think. No. Yeah, last 2 Fairy Tale cards. Tin Soldier. One of your, like, I don't want to say alt win cons, but one of your win cons. 3 mana, 3/4. If this enters the field from anywhere other than your hand, put a Fairy Tale counter on this card. Activate, remove a Fairy Tale counter from this card, choose an enemy leader or enemy follower, deal 2 damage to it. So this is, Faria converts to 2 damage immediately. Alice converts to 2 damage immediately. He converts to 2 damage immediately if you get him off the March Hare's Tea Time. And he can do this infinite amount of times for the amount of Fairy Tale counters he has. And he's just a fully statted 3-drop. I'd say that's pretty good. Also, I think this is the segment to talk about sort of the EX zone, right? So, like, the EX area, I should say. So Tin Soldier, obviously, you probably want to have him in the EX area because he gets a free counter for coming in from the EX area or graveyard. But also you can Alice move Fairy Tale counters to the EX area. So the only way right now to interact with the EX area is Erd, of course. I'm going to preface this with I'm a pretty big Erd hater. I think that card is really inefficient and not very good. But I think especially if you're throwing Erd into your deck, unless you are like the most controlled deck of all time, I don't think Erd is gonna be like the counter to Egghaven. That's my opinion. I think like in the first week, people are gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna stack all the Fairy Tale counters on my like Tin Soldier. He has like 5 Fairy Tale counters. And you Erd and you banish it, but you still probably lose because you just spent 5 mana banishing a Tin Soldier, and then they just, like, whatever, do other shit, So, I don't know, like, because he's not, like, your main win condition. Like, your main win condition is, whoa, I have, like, I'm getting free shit, I'm getting stuff that costs 1 more than it should, or, sorry, costs 1 less than it should, and I'm drawing all these tons of these cards, and I have direct damage through various ways. And I'm pumping my board with Odette for some reason. And, yeah, obviously, it's one of those things where if Erd is the only counter, does it make it good? And I don't have an answer to that. My answer is no. But if your answer is yes, then respect, because I don't think there really is, like, an answer to that question. So, anyway. Last Fairy Tale, Pinion Prince. This card's weird, like I don't know why this isn't a neutral. Like, why is this not a neutral card? Like, I know all the Pinion cards are Haven cards, but, like, I don't know. Anyway, 5 mana, 4/5, bird. I like that he's a bird trait. And Fairy Tale. Fanfare, choose a Fairy Tale card in your graveyard, put it in the EX area, put a Fairy Tale counter on it, so auto, whoop. Tin Soldiers in my graveyard. Let me just get it back and give it a Fairy Tale, and next turn it has 4 damage already because it gets 1 when it comes in. I think you guys are seeing, right? I think you guys are seeing this deck, I think. And then on Evolve, it gets stats for some reason, and it gets direct attack. I don't know. Pretty absurd card. These are, Haven just got some pretty absurd cards. I like also having another 5-drop for the March Hare's Tea Time outside of Odette, so you have like 6 options or 6 chances to get like a ramp. I'm calling it like a ramp card, But yeah, overall, really strong set they got. I'm not really going to talk about the other cards because they're not super good. Amethyst Leo's interesting. 2-mana, 2/1 Storm is kind of cute, but yeah, so that's the set, or that's like the main powerhouses of the set. Now, I kind of want to show you guys a couple deck lists. These are not my deck lists. These are deck lists of people that are, in Japan. They got the Japan Championships, top 8. That's what I was trying to say. Jeez, I'm 50 minutes in. I'm sorry. And yeah, so let's check them out. So I got a few here. First one is Egg Haven. This is, of course, so this website is really sick because it's the top 8. This took me like a while to find this website, but it's all the top 8 deck lists for the Japan Championships. And again, this was in the set 3 meta. And we do have to remember, right? We have to remember that in this meta, Uma was fully operational battle station. It was seeing the Econos on turn 3 every game. It was seeing the inspection start on turn 1 every game. It was full power, 7 centimeters. So obviously some lists are gonna like account for that, and this isn't like, whoa, this list is gonna 1-for-1 be good in our meta. Also because I think our meta is like has never really been defined because our local I'm saying the royal we but is we're a small game, compared to the Japan scene, and that just means more in a best of 1 setting in the game and in the meta that we're in. Just more randomness is gonna occur, and yeah, so you're gonna see success with decks that are like, I don't want to say like objectively not good, but you're going to see success with decks that are not as strong as other decks. So try not to, I would just say with this game, try not to go into locals, win, you're like, 12, 15, that's pretty high, and then go like, oh, this is the best deck. That's all I'm saying, But anyway, we're 52 minutes in. Only the real ones are here by now, I think. So anyway, Engawa, he's one of the best players of our game, I would say. He's a very consistent player in the Japan scene, and he went 6-0 in Swiss with, obviously, Uma and Egg Haven. So we're going to look at his list, because that's a pretty good thing to do. So his list is very much more, I would say, the set 3, not control, but like really on the game plan of I'm gonna burn you out game plan, if that makes sense. So he's playing Faria, of course. Faria's good. Bell's good. Snipe, that's probably for sword. Acolyte, Dark Offering. Okay. Pinion Prayer. I mean, this is one of my favorite cards of all time. Pinion Prayer is sick. And then Sino Diamond. I don't know. I don't want to be a hater. I really don't like this card, but I think this is like, obviously you saw success with this, so like this is all of this commentary is not like me, I just don't like this card. Anyway, and then all the rest of the stuff is pretty similar to what you would normally see in a Egg Haven deck. So, but as you can see, it's more focused on like stacking your deck. So you get like the Sino Diamond. I don't know what the name of it. Outrunning the Encroaching Heat. Is that what it is? Or no, that's the Storm spell. This is I know it's Sino Diamond. Anyway, So you do that, and you're like, whoa, I can order the top 3 cards of my deck so that when Alice comes, I can, whoa, my opinion is just play more fairy tale cards, right? Like, just play your Snow Whites, play your Rapunzels, play your other fairy tale cards that you're not playing, and you'll have a higher hit rate on these cards that look for the fairy tale cards. And we kind of saw that because next set, this deck transitioned into an aggro deck. And that's kind of what is my point, is like, I think that the aggro variant is like stronger, or the aggro version is stronger than this sort of banking on, doing your order of your cards and kind of playing slow, and you're going like, oh, I'm going to Dark Offering my Shadow Diamond Amulet, I'm going to draw some cards, I'm going to heal, and I'm going to, like, what did you just play? What did you just play Princess? What did you just play Snow White? And what if you just play Rapunzel? And what if you just play these overstated cards? And then you can win the board game, right? You can win the Shadowverse Evolved board game, and then if you draw into your eggs and you draw into your tin soldiers, you can burn them out. That's just my philosophy of the game, though. So like that, this is not like the law or the gospel, But I just see like, hey, early game is super important. I think people kind of undervalue early game right now. So my list that I've made, obviously I haven't super tested, but for Egghaven is a little bit different than this. But I think this is going to be the list that most people will be playing. This is also just like very just clean. It's just 3 ofs and then the 1 of it. You know how people get down in English community. They're going to be playing 50 cards with 1s and 2 ofs, But anyway, strong deck. I think this will probably be the best deck in the game. That's my opinion. But we're probably not going to have any big tournaments where that really shows up. And yeah, so next deck is this is the what's my man say? Stay. This is the guy who won. Stay. This is his forest build. Very similar to what we're kind of doing in Force right now, of course, but more controlling. Not, we're not doing Tia, we're not doing, that sort of thing. We're doing, hey, whoa, Tweedledee draws me some cards, and then whoa, this card does 3 damage. So board control, right? Forest is pretty sick deck when you draw the cards in the right order, is what I'll say. So probably a list people will try. I think this is definitely the direction that Force should go. But yeah, cool deck. Next is Aggro Sword, Hero Sword, I should say. This is just one variation. There's some different variations of this deck. I love this. I love my 1-drop. If y'all know me, I love my 1-drops. He's playing 3, 6, 9, 12, 16 1-drops. Oh my god, bro. Like, I love that, But, I don't know, really, I will say, I don't really know why he's playing more goblins than Actress Fairies, because is there like a card that kills a fairy tale card? Like, what's the downside of just playing? Because Fairy's just better goblin, unless he has maybe it's like the scare, like, whoa, he might have the Evo Goblin, the Evo deck, But anyway, love this style of deck. I think it's gonna be really strong. I should say I love this style of deck. I don't love this deck because I think this card is super overtuned and super silly and super digital. And yeah, but strong deck. We're gonna be seeing this a lot, so be ready. That's another reason why I think like playing Snow White and Rapunzel and some more wards in Haven is going to be strong, because we're going to be seeing a lot of aggressive stuff. We don't really have to deal with Uma anymore as well. And yeah. So it's pretty cool. What's this last deck? Oh yeah, I just brought this up because it's like, what is Dragon doing this set? The exact same thing we've been doing for the past 2 sets, unfortunately. So I can see Dragon still being extremely strong as well. But yeah. That is pretty much the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion video. I don't know, hopefully it was helpful, or, I don't know, interesting, I guess. It's an hour. If you guys stuck around for an hour, that's pretty sick. Obviously, you know me, I ramble a lot. I kind of, go on tangents, but hopefully you guys enjoy set 3. I'll probably try to do a video about the set 3, only tournament, and just some decks that I think will be strong there. And yeah, I'm going to be going to the LCQ on Saturday. You know, I'm no expectations, honestly. I think this meta is really terrible. I think this meta is the worst we've had so far in the game. And if I get lucky, we'll get there. If not, who gives a care, you know? But if you're there and see me, say, hey, what's up, my man? How's it going? Shake my hand. I mean, if you're my opponent, can you maybe low roll for me? I'm joking. But anyway, all right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. We'll probably try to do more Shadowverse videos. If you're new to this channel, you probably see I don't do a lot of Shadowverse videos, but it is one of my main things that I do right now. I just haven't really had the reason to talk about it in a while, just because I've either been playing the game a lot, or there's not a lot to talk about, so, but now there's a lot to talk about, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.